We're in the middle of the Sugya Bishul. As I remember, I think we need to do a bit of a chazor. It's been a while, right? We've had a Shabbos in between. Huh? Right, and let's move on. Okay, so Yosef, remember where we were holding? We were going through the dargas of Kalim, right? The dargas of Kalim that affect Bishul. And, okay, maybe we'll go like this. We mentioned a few things. We mentioned, number one, the degree of Bishul that makes something osa is from 0 until fully cooked, even though it's a machoikas rishonim. Until it's fully cooked, you are subject to bishul, meaning the item is not yet fully cooked la halacha, and therefore kolzman you continue to cook it and make it cook faster. You're over on bishul. We then talked about the various kalim that can affect bishul, the nafkamina between a kli rishon, even kli rishon, kli sheni, even kli sheni, and kli shlishi. Obviously, going down as you get further down, the koyach of bishul reduces. And then, if I remember correctly, on Thursday, we did the sugya of Mekarev Bishul, which means that any action that you do that causes the Bishul to work quicker will be included in Bishul, whether it's Hagasa stirring, whether it's closing the oven door, whether it's closing the lid on the pot, moving it closer to the fire. All of these things are included in Bishul, for the simple reason being, because the Gemara tells us, which is Paskin La Halacha, that any action that is done that causes the food to become cooked quicker will be over on Bishul. You have a chelik in that Bishul, and therefore it's going to be also, which means, as we mentioned last time, whenever, for example, very commonly, you take the children off the crock pot or something similar to that, and you want to replace it back on without getting involved in the conditions that are required, the 5 conditions that, of course, we're going to get to when we talk about Shia and Chazara, then, of course, the item has to be fully cooked. That's one of the conditions, obviously, but the item has to be fully cooked, because if it's not fully cooked and you put it back into the crock pot, or you replace the lid on, or you close the oven door, and the item inside the oven, in the crock pot, whatever, is not fully cooked, you are over on Bishul. So that was basically where we got to until now. And then we talked about the kalim, right? The degrees between a kli rishon and a kli sheni. That be'etzim, the Gemara tells us, a kli sheni is ein mavashal, cannot cook, with the certain exceptions. Now, what I want to do today and tomorrow is I want to get to this sugya. It's such a common sugya. I mean, the emes is everything we talk about over here is poshet nogea every single Shabbos. I don't believe there's a Shabbos, unless you're fasting on Shabbos, which is still a problem. But if you're eating on Shabbos, you're going to be subject to one of these shailas. Let's discuss number one. A dover gush. A dover gush is a very interesting mitzias, simply because as follows. Tosfos told us, and we learned this last time, Tosfos told us that the reason why when a liquid goes into a kli sheni, it is no longer subject to bishul, meaning it has no longer got the koyach to cook. For example, let's take a classic case. You take water from the Shabbos urn, you put it into a cup and you drop an egg in there. Right? That pashtus will not cook. Why? Because it's in a kli sheni. So Tosfos, what's the lomdas? Where does this come from? That kli sheni is ein mavashal. So Tosfos is very simple. That the walls that the liquid reaches and touches and is in contact with, when the liquid is placed into the cup, into the bowl, into the mug, into wherever it is, cool down the liquid. And therefore, Tosfos, since the liquid is on the way of going down and it's lost its temperature, therefore kli sheni ein mavashal. Now the shaila is, we touched upon it a little bit, but now I want to go through it properly. And this is very negay. What about if you don't have a liquid? What if you have a solid, what we call a dover gush? What's the din if you take a fat piece of kegel, lokshen kegel, Yerushalmi kegel, potato kegel, whatever it is, and you put it onto a plate? What's the din of this piece of food? Has it got a din of a kli sheni? Which, after all, it is in a kli sheni, right? I took it straight from the pot that was in the oven, that was in the crock pot, whatever, and I put it onto a plate. So, technically speaking, it's in a kli sheni. Melechim askim, it's in a kli sheni, right? Which means kli sheni ein mavashal. Which means, Ruvain, if I want to take salt, for example, or pepper, or any other spice, garlic, whatever it may be, that I want to put on there, should be no problem, because kli sheni ein mavashal, because it's in a kli sheni. The problem is like this. The Issa Veheta brings down, and he brings a Tosfos in Shabbos Lemon base to bring his Makar, which is Paskin the Maisa in the Taz in Yeridei Simon Tzadi Dalet. The Ramah brings this Mufurish in Yeridei Simon Kuf Hey, which is Paskin over here in the Magen Avraham Simon Shin Yud Ches. That a dover gush has got a din of a kli rishon, even in a kli sheni. That means that if you take a dover gush, if you take a solid food, live, you with me, and you put it into a kli sheni, it's got a din of a kli rishon. It's as if it's in the original kli. It's as in the original utensil it was cooked in. Why? Because it doesn't have the svara of Tosfos. It doesn't have like a liquid where the liquid immediately goes and makes contact with the whole bowl, with the whole cup, with the whole plate. A dover gush doesn't have that. That's the mayor. You get it? You get the difference? Zug the Ramah, Yeridea Simon Kufay, which again, the Pascha of Him, Simon Shinin Chesar Chaim, that a dover gush has a din of a kli rishon in a kli sheni, which would mean, therefore, theoretically, any spices or anything you want to place onto a dover gush would be asa. Now, let me ask a simple shayla. You ever took a piece of chicken, you took a piece of meat, and you put it on your plate? Does anyone ever add spices to these things? You ever saw any person, right? Maybe it needs a bit more salt, a bit more pepper, I like garlic on it, who knows, right? Is there mitzvah such a thing? People do such a thing, right? Shmuel, no? You ever saw this in America? Never such a thing?
Of course.
Zeb, Minneapolis, Avada, we see this all the time, right? So, are you allowed to do that, Davey? Are you allowed to do that? You've got a dover gush, you've got a piece of chicken, piece of meat, you put it on your plate. It's got a din of a kli rishon. Now we know, we've learned this already before, Levi Yitzchak, that if you have a chicken soup, and the chicken soup is not even on the fire, it's off the fire, but it's yatzah boy, you can't put anything in that chicken soup. Right, Shimon? Because that's bishul. Kli rishon, you can't put anything in the kli rishon. Zug the poiskim, if a dover gush has got a din of a kli rishon, in the kli sheni, so how are you putting something in there? Now we're stuck. Because every time you have a dover gush, you'll be asked to put any item that is not cooked onto that dover gush. Similarly, you can't even put a sauce on there. Let's say you want to take, for example, you've got a hot piece of chicken and you want to put a bit of sauce on there that's cold. That will be problematic because again, you're going to be cooking the sauce. Unless you put a huge amount, obviously that cools it down. But if it's a nice hot piece of chicken, a piece of meat, and you want to put a bit of sauce which is cold, which is warm or lukewarm or shvach hot, so that will be us to put on your piece of meat. Because again, your piece of meat's got a din of a kli rishon. You can't put anything on there whatsoever. What about this? What about the Pischei Tshuva does the following shaila? The Pischei Tshuva is in Yeridei Simon Tzadi Dalet, and he brings the following shaila. What if you have a dover gush with a dover lach tzaman? Yes, if you got it? Meaning, what's a classic example of this? What would be a good example? A really good example? You said that? You didn't say that. You're scared now. You're not sure. I don't know if I said the right thing. Who said it? Ashley said it? Rabbi Wittenstein. Baruch Hashem. Gewaldig. So Rabbi Wittenstein. Poshet. Heilige Chulent. What is it, Heilige Chulent? Yeah, it depends which type. You have to know. Like, it makes enough giving you which type. I don't know. Are there any Hungarians out here? Yeah. Is it Hungarian? Yeah? Yeah. Oh, the Sameh, Avada. A Hungarian Chulent is very, very liquidy. But it's got a lot of solid in there as well. Any chulent that has liquid and solid, what's the din? Ben, what are you tying? Again, dover gush, it's got a din of a kli rishon in a kli sheni. A dover lach in a kli sheni has got a din of a kli sheni. What's the din if I have a dover gush and a dover lach together in one bowl? Does it have a din of a dover lach, or does it have a din of a yavish? Huge nafkaminas, Rabbi Isai. If there's no salt in there, it needs more salt. Pepper, garlic, whatever it may be. Am I allowed to sprinkle it on? We'll talk about salt a little bit later on. But al kaponim, regular spices. Am I allowed or not? What din does it have, Ben? Does it have a din of a kli rishon? Does it have a din of a kli sheni? Does it have a din of a gush? Does it have a din of a lach? What is it? Hello? It's got a din of a lach. Why? Oh! So Daniel, 1 second. Says, what do you mean? First your Tosfos. Tosfos says that when you have a liquid, the liquid cools it down. I've got a liquid over here, Eli, Shia. If I've got a liquid over here, then what? Then it should cool it down, right? So the Pischei Tshuva brings us again, Yeridei Simon Tzadi Dalet, you did this probably, that's why you know it. In Siv Gimel over there, the Pri Megadim Lamaisa, the Pri Megadim discusses this in Orach Chaim Simon Reish Nun Gimel. That's what the Pri Megadim is, and the Aruch HaShulchan brings it as well, that he tainas la'alocha lamaisa, if you have a dover gush with a dover lach together, it's got a din of a dover lach. And therefore, it's got a din of a kli sheni. Mind are you with me? It's very negeh. So the Aruch HaShulchan, again, up here, Pri Megadim, up here, whatever. That la'alocha lamaisa, if you have a liquid with a solid in it, provided there's enough of each of them, that's got a din of a kli sheni. Therefore, we need enough community to adding spices and everything to the children. Again, we'll talk about spices, we'll talk about salt in a more detailed fashion in a moment. Let's move on, Rabbi Sai. Next question. What about a kli shlishi? What if I how about this? This is very again, yeshiva, right? So, David, gewaldig. David Levi Yitzchak, you took the chicken from the pan on the hot plate and you put it into a platter. You get it to the table from that platter and you take it from the platter and you put it onto your plate. Let's figure this out. What's your plate now? Be'etzem. A kli shlishi. Okay, so I have on my plate a piece of chicken, a piece of meat, a piece of kegel, whatever it may be. And it's on my plate, which is a kli shlishi, because it was taken from the original pan to another tray, and from the tray to my plate. Reuven, got a din of a kli shlishi? Yes or no by Dover Gush? To my Dover Gush now.
No.
Penny, what are you tying now? What are you tying now? What do you want to say? I got a piece of kegel on my plate. You guys know this already, because you do this every Shabbos. Right, Zev?
No, we don't put it on our plate.
You don't put it on our plate? Ah, Chassidish Yid. That's pshat. It goes straight in. Tzadikim. No, Danny, what do you want to say? What do you want to say?
It would be a cliche because it came from a clearisha.
Why klisheni?
Laughter would be a clearisha.
And therefore?
So that way your plate becomes a cliche.
Okay. I hear. The problem is... So therefore what? Therefore? What din does a piece of kegel have on my plate that was transferred from the tray that was transferred from the original container? Rav Yitzchak, what do you paskin? What do you tell the oilam to do? Kli shlishi? Okay, so I'm going to argue with all of you because the shach in your day is simple face has got a din of a kli rishon. Okay? That your piece of kegel, your piece of meat, your piece of chicken on your plate that was taken from the tray, that was taken from the original container, has got a din of a kli rishon. Why? Poshet. What's the svara to say it should be any worse? If the din is that a dover gush retains its heat because of what it is, by the way, dover gush means a piece. If you've got a few grains of rice or something similar to that, well, that's not a dover gush. That cools down very quickly. I'm talking about a chavtza. A chavtza of a piece of kegel, a piece of chicken, a piece of meat, something similar to that. Right? Not a few grains of, obviously that's going to be different. But I'm going to zug the shach in your day similar kufay the Mishnah Berurah, by the way. Paschal's like this halacha levaisa. It's not over here in Shin Yud Ches if you're looking for it, by the way. It's in Tov Mem Zayin. Mishnah Berurah in Tov Mem Zayin says that the din of a dover gush in a kli shishi has got a din of a kli rishon. Nafkamina meaning you can't just put salt and pepper on your kegel, on your chicken, on your meat. That's in your plate. That happens to be transferred from the tray. That happens to be transferred from the original container that was on the hot plate that was given to you by two Gavaldiga tzaddikim in the kitchen working hard for you on a Shabbos afternoon to make sure that you guys are going to have food. Yeah? Okay.
How long does it retain?
Ask Rabbi Wittenstein, how long does it retain the din of a kli rishon? So what's the answer? Yosef, what do you want to say?
30 to 40 minutes. Until it cools down.
Till it cools down to where? From to what stage? Give me that lomdisha word. No, a lomdisha word.
You can eat it and not burn your mouth.
You know what they say? No, say better. Say better. You ever heard that? Anyone ever heard that before? No, say better. Say better. Too many times, right? Shimon, no, what do you want to say? When does it...
That's way too long.
No, Rabbi say, when does it lose its din of a kli rishon, Yosef? Give me words! Not Sameh, give me words! Zuk Pini, Avada, Yatzaledis boy. Kolzman is Yatzaledis boy, it's got a din of a kli rishon. When it's cooled down from Yatzaledis boy down, it's not got a din of a kli rishon. Rabbi said, let's move on. Next Shaila. Very negate Shaila. What happens if you've got a piece of chicken, you've got a piece of meat, and you put it on your plate? Are you allowed, Nosameh, to take a scoop of salad, uncooked, completely non-cooked, cucumber salad, coleslaw, whatever you want to call it, and put it on your plate? Right next to a boiling piece of chicken or meat or kegel, which again has a din of what we're saying right now, la halacha lemaisa, of a kli rishon. That means I'm taking my cucumber salad, I'm taking my coleslaw, and I'm putting it next to a piece of chicken. Ma'asim b'chol Shabbos, lo aleinu. Shimon, lo aleinu, such a thing. We should never know of such a ma'isa. You put the salad next to the chicken. What do you mean I'm not changing it? It's going next to a yad salada's piece of meat. It's got a din of a kli rishon. Huh?
Only the part of the plate where the dover gush is.
Let's say the cucumbers had mamish just squashed against the kegel. I'm not talking about another piece that no shaykhs, they're not touching each other. I'm talking about the mamish next to each other. What's the din does it have? Lo aleinu, such a thing.
Nobody eats salad warm, so
That's very nice. Does that mean you're allowed to cook a salad because nobody eats it that way? Chas v'shalom. That's beautiful. 1 second. But when I put it next to the kegel, I'm cooking the cucumber salad. Yes or no? Yes or no? Again. So according to you, I'm allowed to take a cucumber salad and put it on the fire on Shabbos because nobody eats it that way.
Cucumber salad might be cooling down.
What do you mean I'm not cooking? It's going next to a piece of meat, which is yad shaledes boy, which is in a clevision. Until it cools down. It's boiling hot. It's got a din of a clevision. It's a dover gush. It's yad shaledes boy, dover gush, and therefore you put a cucumber salad next to it. Mom is touching it. You're cooking the piece of cucumber. Livey, what do you say? Rabbi says no. This is Ma'aseh b'chol Shabbos, Ruvain, right? No?
Because nobody eats salad.
Why do they eat salad? Come on. Yeah, with the nishnash in it. With that, yeah. No, Ben, what do you say? No, let's hear.
You're not allowed to do it.
Oh, David comes along, Nachshoin, you're not allowed to do it. Aye, everyone does it. Dash over Maisa. Okay. Somebody once said over a Maisa, I don't remember what the Maisa was. It was a crazy Maisa with someone flying and carpets and Zachen. And the Talmud said to the Rebbe, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense, this story. It doesn't make sense. So the Rebbe said to him, I don't understand. Did you come here to hear a Maisa, or did you come here to ask kashas? If you came here to ask kashas, no. You came here to a Maisa. This is a Maisa, no. This is a Maisa b'chol Shabbos. People do this all the time. So the Maisa, I have to tell you, Rabbi said we have to finish, but I want to tell you like this. It makes a major nafkamina. First of all, you should know, Rav Wosner Zatzal and Shevet Halevi, Rav Nissen Karel, it's also Zatzal and Chodshoni, both say that it's problematic like David. It's a problem. It's a problem. You cannot take a non-cooked salad and put it next to a dover gush, a piece of meat, a piece of chicken, a piece of kegel, and it's boiling hot on the same plate. You're doing bishul. Aye, Zuk Ben, I don't want to. That's very cute. That's very cute. But it's like the Gemara in Shabbos that talks about these little kids that needed a little football, as they took a chicken, they cut off the head, and they said, oh, Gavaldik, we have a basketball over here, right? And they're like, you can't do that on Shabbos. You're killing the animal. We didn't want to kill the animal. That's beautiful. Oh, it's a psik reisha. It's happening anyway. Huh? So, Rabbi said, let's just finish off today. I have over here 8 svaras to be Mekel and Gansen and say that there's absolutely no problem. Shlomo Zalman is ramis to a few of them, Shmir Shabbos, but 8 svaras together to say that it's motor. Let me give you the svaras. I think it's important to know the svaras, because when you're sitting by your future shver, and he's going to look at you putting it, you went to that, you're going to put kegel and cucumber on the side. He's going to say, what are you doing? Like the old days, he used to fahed and with the brachas of kivega, the whole thing, right? So you're going to say, what do you mean? 8 svaras, and he's going to get scared. He's not even going to ask, he's going to get nervous. Okay, I didn't ask. I trust you. Oh, you go out. Anyway, what are the 8 svaras? I'll tell you the 8 svaras. The 8 svaras as follows. Number 1, it's very not shayach for it to ever to get to the darga of Bishul, even Kamaichel ben Drusoi. It's very nuts, number 1. Number 2, it's makalkel the Yerokas. Number 3, it's loy nichalein. Number 4, it's eina mischaven. Number 5, that it's only a suffix if it's going to happen. Number 6, it's derech misasek. Number 7, I think we're holding, the Eglei Tal in Siv Yud famously says that anything that's eaten raw is not subject to Bishul, even midrabanan, if it doesn't make it better. So that's the Eglei Tal. There's a Prima Godim in Arachayim Mishpuzay Zav Sikot and Vav that brings down that fruits that they get worse when you cook them. You're only chayav for the bishul if you want to, and that's good for you. Which is mashma from that Prima Godim. If you don't want to and it's not good for you because nobody wants to eat warm cucumbers, then it will be mutter. So we have over here 8 svaras to be makel, or putting cucumber salad or any uncooked salad on your plate with a dover gush without any problem whatsoever. But what you do have to be careful, which unfortunately people are not careful, and that is to make sure that the plate or bowl that they're about to put the food into, if it's a dover gush, that has to be dry. And this is something that people don't chap. Okay, for example, let's say you take a bowl and you rinse it under the faucet, under the tap, so it's fresh water over there. All right, you shake it out, but there's liquid in the bottom of that bowl. I'm not talking about one tiny drop, I'm talking about there's liquid there. Then you cannot take a piece of kegel, you cannot take a piece of chicken or a piece of meat and put it onto that bowl, because you are being mavashal the liquid over there with a dover gush that's got a din of a cleavation. That will be problematic. Could be, it will be more makel over something which we'll have to talk about if the liquid was pre-cooked already. For example, if it was chicken soup that cooled down, so then there's more of a mokum to be makel and put something inside the bowl because the liquid inside was already pre-cooked. But if you wash it under the faucet, then the liquid is not cooked, and if it was not cooked, you'll not be able to put the dover gush inside of it. Tomorrow, Rabbi Sai, we're going to go through the sugya of spices and condiments. Join us tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.